Thanks for pressing play. You're listening to the Broady Windsor Group on real estate, the podcast for homeowners seeking guidance and support on everything related to owning a home. This includes much more than just buying or selling. We've got you covered for everything from mortgages and financing to home maintenance tips, renovation and design advice, and of course, the latest insights and analysis on what's happening in our local communities. In today's episode, we delve into the art and impact of home staging with our guest, professional stylist Sophie Boudreau. Whether you're contemplating selling your home soon or just curious about the value of staging, this episode is packed with insights. Sophie will guide us through the transformative power of staging, illustrating how strategic decor and furniture placement can not only enhance the aesthetic appeal of your home, but also significantly boost its market value. We'll discuss real-world examples where staging made a dramatic difference in the selling price and speed of sale. Sophie will also share practical tips for avoiding common staging pitfalls and advice for those working with a tight budget. Plus, don't miss our analysis on the return on investment homeowners can expect from staging, complete with detailed scenarios for homes at different price points. Stay tuned as we uncover the secrets to making your property stand out in the competitive real estate market. Welcome, Sophie. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's fantastic. We've been trying to do this for a while, trying to coordinate our schedules. I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Me too. Thank you.
So I'm really looking forward to getting into this conversation with you, especially since we are currently going through a staging project with an upcoming listing.
Yes.
So we'll be able to talk a lot about that. Yeah. But I think I wanted to kick things off and start with a common misconception that a lot of homeowners have, which is, what exactly is home staging? Because I think a lot of people, confuse it with home decor or interior design. So maybe you can start off by telling us, what's the difference between the two?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I get this a lot. I come to a home and I ask to remove the red carpet, and oftentimes they'll say, "What, you don't like my carpet?" And I'll say, no, this is not a meeting for interior design. I have specific strategies as a home stager to kind of make the house decor look as neutral as possible, because what we want ultimately in home staging is to attract as many potential buyers as possible. So the difference is clear. Design is all about personal taste. It's unique. For home staging, it's neutral. It will attract more buyers that will have the similar tastes.
Exactly. That's a great point. People often are very attached emotionally to their homes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it requires a bit of tact as well,
Yes.
to really explain the difference between no, we're not,
Yes.
We're not bashing your personal style here.
Not at all.
What we're trying to do is just appeal based on our experience. What would appeal to the broadest pool of buyers, right?
Yes. I do go softly with all my sellers, and I walk them through and explain why every little things that I recommend. For example, the red carpet. If I leave the red carpet in a photo, all you'll see is the red carpet. It's not the design. It's right. About what do I want to see in the room. I want to see the spaciousness. I want to see the large windows, the overall look. So that's why some of those reasons I'll explain. And of course, we're compassionate. We understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, I want to sort of delve into the process that you go through, because we've worked closely together on quite a few properties over the last year or so. And we've had some great success. So I want to sort of have you walk us through the step-by-step process for what a homeowner could expect.
Yes. So it will always start with a consultation. And that is me coming in, the home stager, as a potential buyer. I put my potential buyer's hat on and I look at everything of the house, even the exterior. I look at the curb appeal. I look at minor repairs. We'll look at the decor, of course, or the clutter of the house, or the personal items, things like that. So we'll walk through the house together and I'll give you tips of what to do. After the consultation, I will have a detailed strategic plan prepared and send that to the sellers. And past this, if they want to move forward to a full home staging package, which then comes to me coming back with sometimes decor, furniture, small furniture like side tables, and that will really enhance everything. That's the final phase of when we as home stagers have the expertise to create that harmony of decor, to give that love at first sight, to create that warmth, because those details really do matter, as you know.
As I know, I think I always say, when a buyer walks in a home, and even before they walk in the home, when they pull up, outside the house,
Yes.
there's an immediate first impression that happens about the exterior and the curb appeal, like you said.
Yes.
And then when they walk through that door, it's usually 10 to 15 seconds
Oh yes.
that they make a decision. Ooh, this looks nice. I want to spend some time here, or get me out of here.
Absolutely. That's going to define the rest of that visit. And that's what us as the home stagers make sure that all the different recommendations will make sure that the visit will be successful, and that they want to move forward and see everything.
So what are all the components that go into it? I mean, there's many pieces in the puzzle here. Maybe walk us through, you mentioned a few of the elements, like making repairs and
Yes.
and things that are sort of deferred maintenance. It's important to make sure you're repairing anything that's broken or loose or...
Absolutely, because home staging is not just about decor. It's those minor things like repairs. So for example, we'll look at paint. Paint will have the biggest return on investment. I'm sure you know. Then we'll look at light fixtures. We'll look at even the dust, the cleaning factors. We'll look at rearranging furniture. So your current furniture, not necessarily always changing the furniture. We'll, most of the times with a house that is occupied, use what you have. Sometimes just removing some furniture, storing will make a big difference. Also, we'll look at curtains. That makes a difference. If there's no curtains, if necessary, it will brighten a room up. Things like, as well, lighting, adding table lamps.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the older homes don't have ceiling fixtures.
That's right.
That also we look at.
I find that lighting is one of the most important factors.
Huge.
It just makes a home more inviting. Dark
Yes.
homes
Yes.
just don't look, they look smaller, they don't look as
Yes.
large and inviting.
Yes, so we do recommend sometimes changing those ceiling fixtures if they're too old.
How about light bulbs?
Light bulbs, I was going to say, yes. And we will recommend also the light intensity. So in an entryway, I highly recommend something more bright. In a bedroom, a warm white.
Yeah.
So those things I'll recommend. I'll check if they're burnt or not. It's almost like a mini home inspection before the home inspection.
Exactly, because we do both, right?
Yes.
And we're very persistent with our sellers, is they want to do a full inspection before the home goes on the market, so they know exactly what the condition of their home is.
Yes.
But then from a visual standpoint, you're also doing that checklist, and you're giving the homeowners, okay, here's your checklist of things to do, and then thanks to the Homeowner Advisory Club, we've got that directory of service providers and handymen that can come in and knock off those things quickly. So that's another key point I want to talk about is timeline. And again, this can be overwhelming for a lot of people. It can be an added stress going, oh my God, I didn't know I was going to have to do all these things. That's where we can help sort of bring in the right people and coordinate and quarterback these things.
Yes.
But how long typically should a homeowner plan before they actually hit the market to get all this stuff prepared?
I would say at least a week to 2 weeks. Because that's what it'll take to order the right light fixture, or get the paint, get the proper painter, changing those little the cleaning, scheduling the cleaning. I'd say about that.
Well, we're going through that right now,
Yes,
aren't we? With
we are.
this condo that we're getting ready to put on the market, and it required the full gamut, right? It
Yes.
required the repairs from the handyman, some
Yep.
painting
Painting.
and patchwork, a full deep cleaning. It required some estate sale to get rid of a lot
That's
of
right.
the items, some decluttering.
Because that's something we identify as well. When you have a home, like in this situation where the homeowner is moving into a retirement home, there are many furniture items they don't need. well, we'll be there to say, we'll be able to help and identify those things that we feel those can be sold. Please leave these items. We'll use them as home staging
Exactly.
to make sure the house still looks inviting and warm. And
That's right. So we took your recommendations report.
right.
We went to the client and said, here's what we're recommending, and here's all the things that are going to need to get done over the next 2 weeks. And
Yes.
it was really a coordination of all these pieces of the puzzle. And now we're going to be ready on Wednesday for you to come in
Yes.
and do the full
Can't wait.
staging. So this was great. We had junk removal, we had estate sales, all this great stuff. And now I can't wait to see what it's going to look like.
It's the final touch.
The final touch.
The final touch. That's where some of the major furniture that was in the home works well in the space. Now, the decor wise, we just want to keep it, just increase the up to date a little bit more. So we will come in and add the right amount, the colors, and we always consider as well and think about who do we want to attract and who will come to this building, right? Because a lot of potential buyers that will come, or maybe an older generation.
That's right. There's a certain age group.
As stagers, we have the expertise for that. So we consider that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, that reminds me of a great story from a home we did a few months ago. And it was a great couple, Ross and,
I think I
and
know
Bet.
you. Yes.
They were the best.
He was an architect.
That's right. And he sort of said, here you go, Scott. We're going to give you the keys and you guys do your thing.
Yeah.
And when he came back, and he walked in the house and he called me right away and he said, Scott, it's Ross. We've seen a house and we'd like to make an offer. And it was his own house, of course. And he says, we were absolutely gobsmacked. We don't want to move anymore. This looks fantastic. So there's the type of reaction that you're going to get.
Yes. And to be honest, we did use a lot of their items.
Yeah.
It's just by moving things around a little bit. And of course, we do have that expertise. Again, we know what works, what can fit, what will enhance a feature. And so we did save cost on there and used what they had.
Great segue
Yeah.
into the next key topic that a lot of people have questions about, which is how much is this going to cost, right? And so with the BW Group, what we do is we cover the initial staging consultation. So we cover your fee to go in and do that consultation and produce that detailed report with recommendations room by room. And then it's a question of, okay, based on the recommendations, here's the fee for your services to actually put all these things together, place the furniture, bring in some suggested decor items. And then there's obviously a rental cost to the items that you're bringing in.
Yes.
So what does that typically look like, depending, I guess, on the size of the home, the type of decor and furniture they have?
So it's important to understand that the initial estimate is, of course, an estimate. So we base ourselves on past houses, of course, and sizes, like you said. So for a 3-bedroom house, for example, that is completely occupied, so there's furniture already in the house that we will use, you're looking at approximately $2,000 to $3,000 approximately of home staging fee for a 4-week cycle. So all the items that we bring in the home will stay in the home for 4 weeks. And we, of course, highly recommend that because what you'll see on the photos after the staging is what the buyers will see when they walk through the house. And
exactly. And you want to make sure that those two align. When somebody sees the photos and they come in and it is a very close representation of what they saw, that's very important.
Yes, highly important. And
4 weeks is key too, because that's our target. We're trying to get this home sold in as close to 30 days as possible, and the staging has a big impact on that.
It does.
So yeah, you mentioned this budget range.
Yep.
I think, is it also dependent on, and does that include the actual rental of the...
Yes.
Okay, so that's your services and the rental included. That's sort of your budget range.
That's right.
Depending on a sort of average size home.
Exactly.
Right. Then we can go obviously much higher if we're going into...
An empty home.
Empty homes,
then
luxury homes with bigger, more rooms.
Of course. Yes. So you're looking at 3 and up, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the most significant benefits of home staging?
Increase of sale price. So the asking price would be amount. If you're unstaged, you might get it lower. If it's staged, you might get a significant increase. And I think you had a good statistic.
I
on
did
that.
have some stats I pulled up here. I've got a stat from the National Association of Realtors that reports that 23% of sellers saw a 1 to 5% price increase on offers for staged homes compared to unstaged homes. And 18% reported an increase of 6 to 10%. So
Amazing.
I just did some quick math.
Yes.
And I said, for a home priced at $800,000, which was the average price of the homes that we sold last year in 2023, what would that represent, right? And
Yes.
at the low end of a 1% increase, the increase in sale price would be $8,000, resulting in a net gain of $5,500 after subtracting the staging costs of around
Yes.
$2,500.
Exactly.
On the high end of that, obviously, the 10% increase would be an $80,000 increase in sale price,
Wow.
resulting in a net gain of $77,500 after staging costs. So then as you go up in price range, it obviously increases the return, right?
Yes.
You're probably spending incrementally a little bit more for the staging,
That's right.
but the services are going to be consistent there. So at a 1% increase on a home price of 1.5 million, that would represent $15,000 in incremental sale price, resulting in a net gain of $12,500 after staging costs. So that's the low end. And
That's
at the
great.
high end, we're talking a net gain of $147,500 after staging costs.
That's wow.
So the results
Wow.
can be significant. And I just wanted to touch on this
Yes.
in that our experience with you, just in the last year, I pulled up 5 of our sales where the sellers had done the full staging
Full
consultation.
staging. Yes.
Exactly. At different price points we're talking about. We had homes between 550 and 1.8 million. Okay?
Yep.
And I'll
Yep.
just read off a couple of these.
Yes.
5 days, 25,000 over asking. 4 days on the market, 50,000 over asking. 6 days on the market, 25 over asking. 2 days on the market, 50,000 over asking. The average time in the market for those 5 homes, and I'm just taking a snapshot, was 5 days on the market.
Oh.
And the average sale price was just over $1 million.
Wow. Wow.
So that's a snapshot.
And
now,
this is not COVID time. This is not,
This-
because
no.
a lot of people say, oh, of course, the house sells fast.
no, because there was
Not
others. There was
really.
others where, again, market conditions play a factor in that, and some homes had, unbelievable backyards and curb appeal were in mint condition.
Yes.
So obviously those would
Yeah.
result in, and there was much more competition for those homes. Those would obviously lend to the speed of sale and the price.
Yes.
But on average, we can say,
Yes.
the homes that are staged, they get much more attention. They get way more visits in that first
That's right.
week on the market.
That's right.
And when we get more exposure, more visits, that leads to a higher potential for offers and a higher sale price.
Exactly. That's perfect. I can give you one small example as well
Yeah.
of another staging that I've done up north of a small chalet looking little property that had a lot of little items like the paint, finishing renovations that we mentioned.
Yep.
And so we came, and the decor, the harmony of the decor was unbalanced. We came in, we applied everything we discussed. He as well, of course, the seller, applied a lot of the items that like finishing the renovations, painting, and we came in with a decor. And as we left the home, someone passed by, had overheard that the house was going to go on the market and saw us moving things around, decided to visit right away. He said, I'm coming in, I want to see. Well, he put an offer and the house was sold.
First day.
First day.
Yeah.
Not even on the market yet. And who knows, right?
Yeah.
But the house looked great. The house looked warm. The master looked now like a little cozy chalet bedroom. So, of course, it made a difference.
That's right. So,
Of course.
And it's this emotional connection too that's so powerful,
Yes,
right?
yes.
There's an energy, and we talk about this all the time as realtors, right?
Yeah.
Is people, walk into home and say, does this feel like home to me? Can I envision myself living here?
Exactly.
And that energy I heard so many times, especially with the Esselmonts in church.
Yeah.
And I've heard it many times where they walk in and say, there's just a good vibe, right? And I think if we can create that vibe,
That's right.
decor and
That's right.
placement of furniture, that has a huge impact, doesn't it?
Yes. Again, that's where we as stagers come in. The consultation is great for the base of everything, the little minor repairs and moving furniture. Yes, it will make a difference. But the staging day, the staging process, the package where the decor comes in, it really is when the magic happens.
That's right, because it's a combination. It's a combination of visual, it's sound, it smells, and that's where the deep cleaning comes in, right?
You said yes.
You walk in and you're like,
Yes.
it smells musty and gross and stale. Versus you walk in, it's freshly clean and you got that fresh scent and it's airy and
exactly
welcoming.
It's all strategies that we use over and over again.
So another great question we always get is, well, what kind of accessories are you going to be bringing in here? And I think, talk to me about the style of the home versus the type of things you're going to choose. Because if we're going into an older sort of Victorian style home, you're not going to bring in ultra modern furniture, right?
No.
So how does that work?
Yes, well, I base myself on the overall features, the property, the area, the city I'm in, and then we decide. So it depends. Like you said, if it's Victorian, I will go softer, more classical. In a more modern, I will have much more clean lines, less accessories because it looks cleaner,
Right.
Yes. And so I adjust based on all of those features. But also I look at the key features of the house, like fireplace, large windows, beams. And so by looking at those things, I know to or remove some furniture so that we can see the window.
You're accentuating the best features of the home.
Yes. So I look at that too for staging day with the accessories.
Now, how about some people that fancy themselves designers and think they've got a design eye? They've watched a lot of HGTV and they look at your quote and go, "Oh, I think I can do this myself." So, what would be some cautionary words of advice for people thinking to do the do-it-yourself staging?
Well, some of the biggest mistakes that some that want to do it themselves and have not done a consultation with me, right?
Right.
Or things like not decluttering properly, or removing those souvenirs, the photos, personal photos, because those things are minor. But again, it helps the potential buyer see themselves in the home and not seeing how the seller's living in their home. So things like this. Also, they might not know, or they might have a personal opinion and think that it's a design, again, like we talked about. So they won't change the decor to make it more up to date or more attractive, more neutral to many potential buyers. So that's another mistake.
It's going back to what we talked about earlier, with the difference between a decorator and a stager.
Yes.
They're much more focused on their personal style and their as you said, as they live day to day, rather than trying to depersonalize it, but making it inviting.
And so they won't look at lighting, or they won't consider the curb appeal on the outside, making sure the lawn is mowed, the trimming bushes. It's a lot of minor things that a lot of times, sellers will tell me, "Do I need to do this? Are you sure?" I'm sure they'll know. I'm sure.
Oh, it's such a great point. I was just in a house the other day where it's a brand new renovation. Obviously a flip, but the backyard the grass was 4 feet high, the patio was all falling apart, and so that's when the buyers are looking at things they have to do, versus what's been done, right? So they're basically subtracting costs from the list price rather than adding price to see, because they want this house and it's got everything, it checks all their boxes.
So again, DIYers will neglect minor repairs.
Yep.
They think that, oh no, that electrical plate that looks outdated, the wall paint, or they'll choose the wrong color
Right.
that won't look good on photos.
Right.
Or yes, many different things like this that
Now, how about those that just simply, they get your report, we've done the consultation, and then they look at that and go, wow, okay, that's a little bit outside my budget. Can we do something here?
yes,
And of course,
we have
we have.
in the past. Yes, exactly. So in that case, we will adjust, of course. I will always say the ultimate package is always the best, but we can adjust and make it look at least to its potential. So, you know,
Some is better than none.
yes, absolutely. So I will add the thing, and I will know which items will make the biggest difference. So for example, plants add life, they add color, they're neutral. So things like this is cost effective. If a sofa looks really old and has a lot of tears or things that, I'll recommend, you know, maybe a cheaper version of a cover, things like that. I've also in the past recommended DIY frames. So framing some nice photographs, natural pictures from that they've taken and put it up in a frame.
Yeah.
All these little things add up to making the house look more inviting. So
Because I know
they're less
that's
expensive.
right. And I know we've had clients that say, forget this. I do not have the time, the energy to do this.
Yeah.
I want to just hand this all over to Sophie and
Yes.
let's, get it taken down. Like the Eskimos here, hand the keys and say, get it done. Then there are also clients who enjoy this and they have a little bit
Sure.
of an eye for design.
Yes.
And they took your recommendations report
Yeah.
and they
They
basically
applied.
followed it and they
Yes.
applied it.
Yes.
And there's some that have done an excellent job at it.
Excellent job, absolutely. So at least at the minimum, a consultation, so that I can give
Exactly.
you the first step.
The things that you
base.
didn't consider or think of.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
And it's gonna help you with time. It will be cost effective because I will be able to tell you the right decisions to take.
Avoid those DIY mistakes.
Avoid those mistakes. Yes.
So at the minimum,
Yeah.
get the consultation.
Yes.
So Sophie, one other question we get to is especially more for vacant homes, where obviously the cost of bringing in furniture can be quite costly. And if, again, people don't have the budget to do that, the next best option is virtual staging. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, I don't personally, and most of us home stagers don't recommend a full virtual home staging, because what happens is, yes, on photos, yes, when the potential buyers see the photos and see the virtual staging, oh, it looks great. But when they come into the house is empty. It's cold. It's missing warmth. It's missing that first impression, invitingness. It's not what they saw. And unfortunately, they will forget what they saw. So they will wonder, how do I place my furniture? Are we sure this was the right scale? And it's said that only 2% of the population can really see how they can fit furniture in an open space or a cluttered space in another situation.
Exactly, because I had that instance with a listing, and the client decided to not do the staging and to just use virtual, and that was exactly the feedback that we got. Is it looks great on the photos, but when they arrive,
Like, oh,
where do I put? Will my bed really fit in
what
this
was this?
in this room?
Yes, exactly.
And even though there's floor plans, like you said,
Yeah.
very few people can actually visualize
themselves.
how
yeah.
it's gonna look, and it just looks smaller when
It does look smaller.
there's no furniture there.
Yes.
Right.
And the only time we do recommend some virtual staging is if there's a major renovation in a kitchen, for example, or a bathroom, a change of layout. So
We did that as well.
Yeah.
We had a client where, the kitchen was a complete,
that's right.
it needed completely gutting and remodeling. So we did exactly that, a virtual stage of here's some ideas on what
Yes.
you can do with this space.
It shows the potential.
Shows the potential.
Yes.
Exactly.
And in parallel to that, when doing those kind of virtual staging, I always recommend to do an estimate of how much it would actually cost
Great.
to do those
Yeah.
renovations,
Great
because then it will incur, it's going to cost an unreasonable amount, and so let's decrease the selling price
Yep.
when it's really already included.
Well, it's like the one we're working on together right now.
Yeah.
That was exactly what we're going to do. Is the
right.
kitchen was renovated quite a long time ago. It was those thermoplastic that are starting to peel
Peels,
in the
yeah.
old, darker colors. But the cabinets themselves are still in good shape.
That's right.
So we're getting a quote for what would it cost to either reface or replace the doors, and that would turn it into a brand new kitchen.
Exactly.
Right. And then the floors, again, maybe not the color that's in style today. So what would it cost to sand and stain those floors? Give that to the buyer, and then again, show them through virtual staging what it would look like before and after.
Yes. It avoids price reduction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then again, the market is chasing you, the listing, rather than you chasing the market.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. Well, this has been fantastic. Like
It really has.
really informative stuff. I know people are going to get a ton of value out of this because these are questions we get all the time. As soon as we go into a listing presentation and we talk about staging, then the inevitable question is, well, what are they going to do, and how much does this cost, and is it really worth it?
Yes.
So
my hope one day is that all the potential sellers will consider at least doing the consultation, and that home staging is more and more well known. I don't know if you knew, but in Europe, the cost of home staging is actually deductible in their income taxes. It's a thing. It's a must. You must do it.
I think it's the opposite here.
Yes, exactly.
They're adding on the tax, not the deductions.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. Well, this has been great. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we wrap?
Well, all I want to say is please come and contact me for a consultation if you're considering selling your home. You can reach me. You can find me on Facebook, Sophie Boudreau Home Staging and Design, or on Instagram. I'm sure, Scott, you'll
Absolutely. You're in our directory. You're in our directory, our homeowners advisory directory. And we obviously refer you quite a bit.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's been great working with you. You've added a ton of value to our service offering.
I hope it helps you sell it even.
Fantastic. Of course. I mean, the results speak for themselves.
It saves you time as well, I'm hoping.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to show those homes that have been well staged, because I love seeing the reactions of buyers when they walk in.
I love preparing a home. I love home. It's a passion of mine.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll also get access to the Homeowners Advisory Club. Thanks for listening.